we didn't have money for little Christmas tree, or which is like $50.
Or I would spend my entire life destroying your wife. I literally was just fantasizing about what I was going to do.
Oh, man. Not every day that we have the actual boss of Titans of CNC.
Oh, my God.
The actual boss.
The actual boss.
Yes.
What's up, Gina?
What's
Nothing
up?
happens.
So good.
Everybody
Without me.
thought Titan was in charge, but now they know the truth.
Now they know the truth. Full on,
Gina.
live in
Partner
the flesh.
crime.
Partner in crime.
That's right.
Oh, man.
But right, as we've said before, you've got to, every man's got a great woman behind him, and without that, great woman to support what we do in this industry, it's hard to be successful. Yeah. It really is.
I give her all the credit in the world. I always tell her that I would never be able to do anything if we didn't have such an amazing marriage and all that. And we've been together since I had like my little blue truck pulling up at your place, and I remember breaking the truck and the Stratus I had, and I broke 2 cars like when we first started dating, and I was struggling, man.
Oh yeah,
I remember.
Like,
did he make you get out and change tires or anything? Like, what do you mean broke? You had a flat, or like literally broke down?
Yeah, something to do with the engine, or
Yeah,
it was pretty serious. I think for both cars.
There was no flat.
It was like thousands of dollars, and I didn't
serious.
have that.
Yeah.
So you got to understand, like, this is what 23 years ago. It's like we met the week after September 11th.
Wow.
The week after.
That's crazy.
And I remember like sitting with her, and then we were sitting down by the river in Old Sac, and like sitting there talking, and it literally for 7 hours we talked.
Wow.
After a couple hours,
So
I was like, oh, I need to get you home. And she's like, no, I'm good. And I was like, oh,
this is on.
this is on. This is good. And I remember driving home, that I'll always remember, because I remember thinking, dang, we just talked for 7 hours and didn't even mention September 11th, which was
amazing.
Last week,
That's
crazy,
impressive, because I can't get him for 5 minutes. So the fact that you tied him down for 7 hours.
Yeah, you don't look like that.
And that's when if you could have a conversation that rolls like that and about everything under the sun, and it just is seamless and continue, that there's something there.
We knew right away we were great friends.
Yeah.
Right at the time we started talking on the phone, we just, like he says, we hit it off.
Yeah.
Talked for an hour first, 2 hours the second day, met the third day, and been together every day since.
We knew right away.
Incredible.
You know what I love? That people say like, oh, don't take your work home. She asked me, I get home, she's like, how's the company?
Yeah.
How's the people? How's Barry?
In
did Barry crash the machine?
Barry's doing everything he can to destroy our company, but
Titan keeps hanging on to him.
So good,
I love y'all's whole story, man. Just the podcast we did the other day where we were talking about how it's important to if you're starting a shop, you have to know that your family is behind it.
Yeah.
And I love the stories about Gina coming to the shop and running machines with you and watching movies.
Like, people, it's like a fairy tale, right? Because people see all the videos now, but they don't understand. Like, it's hard to like grab that concept that, like, the car I drove was my old company's, and it's like I had to give that back. Like, we had nothing, I had $1,500. Like, she met me and I made good money. I just didn't tell her the first time we talked that I had $1,500 child support coming out of my neck.
Surprise.
That was quite a surprise.
So we loved each other, and but we were struggling. When my cars did break down, it was a problem. It was thousands of dollars that I didn't have. And we were at a place one time when we were dating, and this is how crazy it was. Is that she was up hanging out in Grass Valley with me for the weekend, and she was still she was a senior at Sac State, and getting ready to graduate and stuff. So she would come up, hang out for the weekend and stuff, and at the end of the weekend, like, I would take her home. But on the way home, she likes chocolate shakes.
Oh man, chocolate shakes.
She loves chocolate shakes. So
Still do.
Yeah, right.
So
the
I was,
two ice cream bandits over here.
Yeah.
Ice
It's
cream.
our downfall.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell her that I'd actually everything we had done that weekend. I had carefully kind of planned out and spent all my money, and I literally had $3 to my name.
Oh, shoot.
$3.
Oh,
And
You already know where
just enough for a chocolate shake.
oh, so I was
No.
like, so I knew that if you go to Jack in the Box by my house,
Yeah.
there was like, $237 or something.
$237,
Plus tax.
done.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, you want a chocolate shake before I drive you home? And she's like, oh, I'd love one. And then so I drive over there and I get into the drive-thru and she's like, what are we doing here?
I'm sorry. What?
You can laugh. And she's like, what are we doing here? And I was like, I'm getting you a chocolate shake, And not just a small, like it was a good size,
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh no, I wanted Baskin Robbins."
Oh, this isn't what I was talking about. That goes over budget.
Yeah.
Big burn.
And then I was like, and I had to come clean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the drive-thru, I was like, I can afford Jack in the Box, but I cannot afford
That
Baskin
is
Robbins.
crazy.
You know what I mean?
Crazy.
I mean, that's a crazy story. And then we're over here by a big old mill turn with a worldwide platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Funny
But
how
like
times
people
change.
have to understand, there's been sometimes I saw like comments like insinuating that she got with me like after all this happened. And
Oh,
it's like
man.
none of this
Yeah.
would have happened without Gina.
Yeah.
And we dreamed together. When I was working with Dave Nagy, we talked
Sure.
about that. I don't want to go through all the things, but during that whole time of working for 4 years, and then that was going to be my company, and it was like my
I
opportunity.
went through it the whole time.
Yeah.
Just seeing him come home.
Yeah.
All this working so hard for, because he already had in his mind, okay, this company will be mine one day.
Right.
So that was his goal, just working for that goal. But I could see just his energy drain every day, just not being happy. And I don't know, the chemistry with the owner just wasn't there anymore. I think he already had in mind
What
his
he
plan.
was gonna
He was
do.
orchestrating
Yeah.
something
Sure.
that he wasn't sharing with Titan.
Sure.
So,
She would tell me,
Yeah.
you need to quit
yeah.
and go work for a different company.
Right.
But I was like, I built this place.
Yeah.
There's it's going to be mine. He's going to retire. He's going to keep
Yeah.
his word. We have a contract. All this stuff is going to happen. If I just go to another place, it's
I
just going to
lose
be
that.
It's like starting over.
You lose
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Exactly. And we know what happened, and that he did end up screwing me, and he found a buyer for it and went back on everything. But that was the best thing that ever happened in our lives,
Things happen
because
for a reason.
Yeah. You got that right.
then it was like, okay, what are we going to do?
But think about
I'm going
that.
to call Keith.
Oh man, there was that call ready to go.
my
But think
gosh.
about that, right? When we're young like that, you have these, whether it's opportunities or failed opportunities or missed opportunities. But we're young, we're in our 20s. We don't have the wisdom or the idea that oh my
Exactly.
God, this is what I should do. Hindsight's 20/20, right? When you think about what you could have done or what you should have done, like you said, things happen for a reason. That was meant to be. That if without that happening, you don't open your shop.
Absolutely. It had
Crazy.
to happen.
Had to happen.
It had to happen like that. And it was crazy. And then, in the previous podcast, we talked about Jeff working on my night shift, and then
Yep.
Jeff saying, hey, both my parents died. I'm going to give you $50,000. And then, he ends up refinancing his house to give me $125,000 to give us, right? And we're just dreaming about how we're going to build this company and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to also think about that day. Jeff's like, because we hadn't met his wife,
Yeah.
and
You had never met her before.
we'd
Okay.
never met her. So
Interesting.
Jeff's like, we need to go have dinner, and Elena wants to meet you. And remember now, she was not about it.
Yeah.
Like, you got $50,000 in savings that your parents gave you after they passed, and now you're refinancing our house and taking all the equity, $75,000
Pretty
out,
scary.
everything that we've
Jeez.
worked for in this life.
Hello.
We're 60 years old. we have no other options, and you're just giving it to this guy with tattoos and that you work with and stuff. But Jeff was always like, Titan, I've never seen anybody with your talent. You have to have your own shop. And he was the biggest believer,
awesome.
but she's not there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She's not there.
Yeah.
Right.
Still got to get the boss's approval.
Exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then so we went and we had pizza.
Oh, I
Right in
remember.
Newcastle, you know Newcastle,
Ooh,
Yes.
that strip of kind of old, that pizza place right there.
Hell
So good.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And then I don't know. You want to explain like how serious she got with us?
Well, I mean, you got to understand, it's they're everything they have.
Life savings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't have retirement. So we met, we had pizza, we tried to have a good time, but it was tense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
In the sense that, okay, she's getting to know Tyne, of course, his appearance, the tattoos, she was totally, I don't know, she was intimidated by that. And also knowing that, you know, they were gonna put all this money in our hands just to open this company. She was having a hard time.
Oh, I'll bet if I brought my wife to a
Terrific.
meeting like
Yeah.
that where I was going to give all my money and all of her money to somebody else, and they sat down a tattooed felon in front of me,
That part too.
that would have been a very short meal because my wife would have left immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Think about it. That is tough. That is, I mean, what you're asking, and I get it, Jeff. And just like we said earlier, you know, the vision of what you bring to the table was there, but that's still, you're giving a lot away. You know, trust in you.
Yeah, and she was like, I do not agree with Jeff.
Wow.
And she was looking at us, both of us, and she was like, this is everything we have.
Wow.
Everything we have.
Yeah.
If this doesn't work, we have nothing.
Wow.
Dude.
Hello.
And then
That's heavy.
you know, I was just, I did me, man. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
And at some point, I have to translate to her because she spoke English, but it wasn't as well. So we had that element there too.
Oh,
so,
good. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Tyne started talking and really opening his heart to her, and of course I was there too and support Tyne in the conversation.
Right.
So
Right.
try to make it as smooth as possible.
How do you translate boom?
Say boom.
Yeah. but you know, Gina
great
just said something that is important. Is like, I opened my heart to her.
Yeah.
Like, we had nothing, you know. Like we had nothing. I just had my car taken away because my employer was like, you know, trying to make me feel that if I left the company that I would be sorry.
Yeah.
So it was immediate. It wasn't like, hey, Titan, thanks for helping build this amazing company and make it a CNC shop that I can actually sell.
Right.
It was, can I have my car keys?
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like, I did nothing but
Just shut
build
it off.
that.
That was horrible.
But it was like, if I'm going to leave, then yeah. So at that point, she was just like, yeah. But I shared my heart with her.
Yeah.
I shared my heart with her, man. And what we see around us and what we see in the videos and all that we would talk about back then.
Yeah.
I shared with her. I was like, I did go to prison. I did make mistakes.
we were pretty open.
Yeah, yeah.
I did go through this crazy life, but that's in the past, and we're going to build a company, and we're going to make it's going to be on a foundation of service, and we're going to serve our industry. We're going to help people. We're going to do all these different things. And I really I showed her the plan to make money, and then the plan to use that platform to touch the world. And
that time could have never
could see the
thought that,
confidence. She could see the confidence.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
And you know, that's such a huge thing. And we've talked about it before, how, you know, you had two things going for you. You had your confidence, and then you had a plan. And the number of people that had to have like the utmost confidence in you is insane. So, you know, you had Jeff, his wife, you had Gina, you had Keith, you had Bill Selway, all these people that your confidence drew in and convinced that you were going to be able to do what your plan said you were going to do.
And I think there's a lot of people out there that they listen to the story and they're going to duplicate it. But a lot of things have to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to be a certain individual that That people believe, you
Yeah.
know, like I don't like talking about myself and stuff, but people say like the one thing you have is presence. You know what I mean?
And your
when
reputation
you speak,
too in that industry,
Yeah.
that helped too.
Yeah. Good call. Yeah.
So,
but it's like having confidence that this is how we're gonna do it. This is the 4 machines. This is the work we're gonna get. This is how we're gonna make money. This is how we're gonna actually get a shop and do all these different things and stuff. We put it out there, and then
And if I remember correctly, you kind of blew right through all that money, Gina, right?
so quickly.
We spent-
So,
spent
what are
it
you
all.
thinking when he goes, "Oh my, it's
Oh
gone"?
my gosh.
wait. First off, first.
That's
do
a
we
big
do
deal.
now?
Yeah, right.
First, Gina talked with Elena and Jeff and translated, and then we kept going, and then we went outside and we got in the car and I started the car, and then what did you tell me?
Are you sure you can do this? I look at him in the eye.
Yeah.
The eyes.
Direct.
Directly, yeah.
Like my wife.
Yes.
You know what I
exactly,
mean?
just like that. Can you do this?
Yeah.
Because I was a little bit scared too, just for them.
Sure. Sure.
That's a
But at the
healthy
same
fear.
time, I felt very confident about him.
Yeah.
And I knew he had this plan already, and he was ready to set it all in motion.
Yeah.
And like I said, he always exuded confidence.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I hung on to that.
Yep.
Oh
So-
man.
Yeah.
I know.
Aw.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that's right. We got
And
we
think
got
about
the
it, though.
building, and we got the building, and then and everything, and then spent all the money.
And think about that real quick, though. Back to what you were
Yeah,
just saying, right? You add what if you look at her and she's like, I mean, are you sure? Like, and not giving, not. I mean, there would be plenty of women that would be like, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
This is a tough deal. That's all their money. I mean, great for you in trusting in him, right? Because that's, again, we talk just like we just said, but you having that response to him probably again gave you a little bit more.
Yeah, if she was
Wavered at all.
wishy-washy and didn't have confidence, it would have been hard. And I
Yes.
wouldn't be at my best.
Right, that's right. Knowing
what I
that
mean?
she's not 100%
Exactly.
on board.
She gets 100% on board, and
Yep.
she's going to go to Sam's Club and buy all the racks
All
and
the
buy all the
racks.
things, you know, and
Put them all together.
Yeah.
put it
Oh
all
my
together,
gosh.
and then help paint the building. And like we got like 2 bays. Each one was like 1,940 square feet, so almost 4,000 square feet that we started with. And then Gina's right there helping through the whole process. But yeah, I could have never done it. Maid took one. There was 2 offices. Each bay came with an office.
Yeah.
So we did one of the offices, and then her brother Orlando actually tiled.
Ooh.
Yeah, way back then he actually tiled
Nice.
it with this kind of like sandy, kind of sand color tile, and we painted it. Was it
Bright.
yellow?
It was a very bright yellow.
Yeah, it was like yellow.
Where'd you come up with yellow?
Yellow,
I don't know.
and we
It's
put
like a piece of
blue
paradise in
Yes,
the shop.
yes.
That's
Yeah.
what we wanted to recreate.
Yeah,
Yes.
it had like kind of a surfer Hawaii theme.
Vibe.
Okay, got it.
And
yeah.
then we put a blue couch that was a hideaway bed, and then we put a TV in there, and we made a living room, and we went to work, man.
That was it.
And I would go to
Running
work,
24
and
hours.
she literally would come and then just bring me food, and then come hang out, and we'd watch movies together, and
Yeah.
So
you
great.
know, and
Those are the early days. It's what it takes. Like we said earlier on in one of the other podcasts. I mean, it takes full effort, full commitment on both
On both
sides.
sides,
And
correct.
the hours that have to go into starting a company like that are just
Yeah, it's
insane.
not easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Good for you, brother man.
And then just rising through the years, and we went from borrowing $5 for gas to get to work to making $1 million a month.
And
Yeah,
do you remember
you
that
know.
time we didn't have the money for the Christmas tree? We had like $50. Remember?
I vaguely remember. Tell
Yeah,
me.
no, it was horrible. I mean, I was working at this other company as a graphic
Pacific
designer.
Mercom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was prior to opening the shop, but we were struggling financially. And I don't know, it came in December and we didn't have money for little Christmas tree, it was just like $50 and we didn't have it.
Jeez.
So, yeah,
Look at that.
situations like that, it happen all the time to us, but
Yeah.
That's funny hearing that you were a graphic designer. Didn't you actually design our logo?
Yeah. At the beginning, I just took care of all the artwork for the company.
That's awesome. Good job.
Yeah.
She used to run the lathe.
And do that too, run the lathes and
do office work, shipping,
receiving,
all
of it.
Wear many hats.
I had to
babysit me.
Yeah,
right.
You know,
I mean, he was running the machine, so somebody had to take care of the other things in the shop.
Oh yeah. The first time that I met you, I thought to myself, I was like, what the heck? This dude's like 7'4", and he's married to this lady who's like 4'1".
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, you don't know. She used to be a kickboxing instructor. And it's like, okay, this makes more sense.
Gina, when we had the MMA gym, she used to actually teach, and then I'd actually, we had the machine shop, then we had the gym, so then after work, I'd go and train, and then when I couldn't do the training for the guys, she used to train them.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good time. I was just like this. I'm gonna put them through hell.
Yeah, exactly. Drill sergeant.
It's too soft on them.
Now you guys are starting to realize when I go home too, she's just like, what's up?
I love it.
But
oh my gosh.
Watch, we'll grab some clips. Watch her hit the bag. She's a monster. Like look at her.
Petite thing.
I'll grab a clip and put it on the video. She's a monster.
That is good
Do we even have videos?
I have one. Yeah. It was a long time ago. But I mean, that's the thing. We've gone through so many different things. It was before its time. It was awesome.
Absolutely it was.
Yeah.
Gina was shredded too. She was
and we had black walls.
Black walls. I
remember
remember that.
It was crazy. So
Titan's Dungeon.
I know. And that was like during the downfall. We had 3,500 square feet. We had a building that we were expanding into. We had contracts to 2017, and all of a sudden, everything started dropping, and all the work started going away. And at that time, we had the building. There was nobody that was going to rent it, so it was like, hey, we're gonna go build it, make a gym.
Just in
case,
backup plan.
And as a backup, like plan B, and maybe we can like do something with it and stuff. And it was a great gym. But if you look at the gym, it was like this idea I had on, like, you play basketball at 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
You play basketball at like 10 at night. It's super cool outside, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, you have like an outdoor kind of vibe, like a night theme. Like, we'll do it black, and instead of walls that are expensive, we'll put chrome chain link fences to actually create the separation and just make a cool ass place, you know? And people loved it.
I think you sold it off, and then it's still going, right?
It's the guys still have it under a different name.
It was Titan's Dungeon.
Yep.
And then there was just diehards and stuff, and now it's Life Altering Fitness in Auburn, California. So when, like, it was almost as we were losing the company, it was like plan B.
Yeah.
But as soon as God just saved the company, then all of a sudden it was like, okay, like,
this is the
I looked
plan.
at my head trainer, the same thing. He actually had a dream of having his own gym, but there's no way that he would be able to do it.
Sure.
And then I did the same thing that people did with me, and I just said, look, I'm going to give you this gym. You're going to make this monthly payment. If it fails, I'm okay. But
roll it.
This is the price, and just pay me over the years. And he paid over 5 years. He paid me off.
Beauty.
Awesome.
How great is that?
And then it changed his life, and it's still, you know, we
Same
downsized it a little bit for him.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
and
cool.
it worked out great. Zach.
Yeah.
So
You know, that gives me a
guy.
question. You know, I've heard the story about Jeff, you know, giving you the money to start the company, and I know that you ended up paying him back with, you know, interest.
Yeah.
But how long did it take you to pay him off? Because, well, like, what year did you actually start the shop?
So we started the shop in 2000, and Jeff worked part-time for us.
Right.
He worked on the nights and helped, because we had 4 machines, right? So he would come in and help for 2 years. He would help, and then he retired, and then we basically, I didn't have just the money, right? So we paid over like 3 years, and so from 2005 to 2007, he moved to Texas. He lives right over there in a beautiful house that we went to, right?
Yep.
And now his wife loves us. You know?
I'll bet she does.
And then over 3 years, something like that, we paid him off, and then we were at a restaurant one time, and we were just talking about life. Like, we're just talking about life, man. So he gave us $125,000. We gave him back $500,000.
Yeah. Hello.
So
Good investment.
I was
Very solid.
we were just sitting there, and we're just talking about life. Like, I couldn't get you a milkshake at, you know what I mean, Baskin Robbins.
Yeah, right.
And now we own this company, and now we've gone through crazy things, but we made it through 08, 09 and all this, and it's like, you know what? Who would have given their life savings? Only Jeff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Only
crazy.
Jeff. We were just reminiscing on it and stuff, and then I know he got his house, but then he made some bad investments. A couple things happened and stuff, and maybe medical bills and different things. And I know that he was kind of struggling, so I just told him, like, the money was all gone. And I called him up and I just said, look, Jeff. And I just probably was like crying on the phone, man. But I just said, look, everything that we have now, everything that we're doing is because of your generosity early on and stuff. And I know that, you know, things didn't work out perfect as far as, like, you know, the money lasting and all that. So I'm like, I'm going to actually, we're going to pay you $2,000 a month until the day that you die.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago, and we still pay that today. And I happily pay it.
Absolutely.
Because that money wouldn't exist
No.
if wasn't for
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely agreed.
If you ever need to borrow any money, Titan, I got you.
Yeah. Well, you know,
return.
see, I'll say this. He loaned me $50,000.
Yep. Yep.
Man.
Absolutely.
$50,000.
And similarly, like, right, we had girls that were getting ready to go to college, but you trusted in this guy, 100% trusted in this guy, and knew that I felt like it was a phenomenal investment, understanding where it was going to go.
But he did it when everything was crashing and I couldn't make payroll.
Yep.
Oh, man.
And I don't know if I can talk about the terms. You know, but
whatever, however you want.
Yeah, I just, you know, Keith has been successful in life, and he's been huge, and I had literally nowhere to turn, and like, our company and the work is just dropping, and then that's right when, like, Schilling Robotics laid off 100 employees and all that. So all these contracts we had, like, were gone, and I kept the employees too long. Because we dreamed together, man. You know, it was just a tough situation. So we were at a point where, like, we were struggling with payroll, and I was looking everywhere. And I went to Keith and I said, hey, if you give me $50,000, I'll pay you back 80 and stuff. And he gave it. And it took a while to get the 80 back, but I did pay it, you know. But think about that friendship when you're dropping to help you pay your guys, you know. So love you, brother.
And look at him now. You know,
absolutely.
He gave you $50,000 then, and now you're paying him $50,000 a year to work for you. What a deal!
Yeah, it's a little more than that.
Happy to do it. Oh,
but it just shows, man. It's part of the whole. It's part of the whole picture, man. And
it was one of those things that. You know, I've said it, and I knew this, you know, as far as the industry that we both believe in, we all love, right? A lot of that is the trust in Titan, but it's also understanding that manufacturing is, that we always say, resilient. And, you know, I knew that there would be a time that it would be back. I knew that, you know, this industry ebbs and flows. It has its cycles. And we were in a tough cycle. So to see a guy like him, you know, go down, that wasn't going to happen. You know, if we could have a little part in that and understand what the future was going to be, we were all for it, no issues. But it
was a hard time, you know. And
no doubt.
I think I don't think I've really talked too much about this part of it and stuff. But when the economy dropped and 08 happened, you know, and we had all those contracts to 2017, and we're rolling, man. We're making 40% profit on everything, and we've expanded. We've done all these things and stuff, and all of a sudden, all the work drops out, and you don't really understand what the banks did, right? You don't really understand that this is like this crazy. Like I was so confident that we were so much better than everybody else making parts that you couldn't lose because they needed their parts. But when it started dropping, man, like we went through hell. She went through hell.
Sure.
I talk about times crying on my floor in my shop, you know, like literally crying out to God, and then I got to go home and tell my wife that we've lost the company. You know what I mean? She's on the other side of that. You know, at home, with that security now broken. You know what I mean? Because we're not paying ourselves, because now we're paying everybody else. We're not able to pay our bills because our payroll is more important to our employees. Right. You know what I mean? And like people can see it from different points, but she saw it in a different way as everything was collapsing.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. It was a very rough time. And I think, too, looking at the positive side of that is it brought us closer together. At that time, I gave my life to the Lord, too. So, like we were talking before, everything happens for a reason. And just going through that, it just restructured everything to what we are today. It made us a lot stronger. The experience, it was very tough. I remember, you know, just going through the hardships of, mortgage, and, you know, we have these cars.
We were renting back. Oh, yeah. It started out, Yeah,
so it started like that. So, and then just having all these things that we were used to, now we have to get rid of them. Right. You know, we were living a great life and traveling and doing different things. And just all of a sudden, okay, you can't have any of those things anymore. We have to think about our employees first. Right. Yeah. And then we kind of...
We made crazy decisions.
It was pretty rough.
We fought to buy a house. Yeah. Couldn't pay the mortgage, lost the house, right? And if I wanted to just take the money, you could probably pay it, right?
Sure.
But as the company is going down and you're trying to save it, you know what I mean? There's a lot of families involved.
It's
your
kind
team
of
and
gotta
stuff
take
too.
care of them first.
So then we're renting, and then we both had BMWs.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm not going to drive this.
The visual wasn't helping us, you know.
Right.
Our company's sinking, and then we're driving around these luxury cars.
Yeah. Right. So we made a decision, and we called BMW, and then basically we both drove our cars and basically handed the cars and surrendered them.
Man, crazy.
Yeah.
Ouch. Crazy. That was a big ouch.
And I had gone in there and I bought the car, you know what I mean, and put like a crazy down payment on it, and got an M6. I had like ripped jeans. Like you would not think that I could afford that. And I took pride in like, man, we've done so well with the company. I can go have a nice car. You know what I mean? And stuff. So then just like a couple years later to go back and surrender them to the same people was so
very humbling.
I bet.
It just, the whole thing was, you know, we were making payments. So our rent, so we had like, you know, 35,000 square feet. So our rent was about $30,000 per month.
Hello.
And we subleased the building in the back. Where the water jet was. Right. We subleased that because all that work went away. Yeah. You know?
Yep.
So, and then we had done the gym and stuff. And then we had it, that building was actually making it enough to pay its rent. And then the gym was enough just to pay its rent. You know what I mean? And then we had the 15,000 square feet in the front. And we were behind a couple months. Yeah. A couple months rent. And then the owner of the buildings that we were leasing from, as every other building all of a sudden was unoccupied and for lease signs going up, he just started like tormenting us, man. And he just kept coming. And we were like, we were behind, but we were paying.
Yeah.
Like we were paying.
Still keeping it
we
going.
Yeah,
we were
exactly.
behind, but we were like, now we're paying, and things were like, you know, they weren't good, but we were paying the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then
Just trying to
but
survive.
he didn't
Yeah.
want us to be 2 months behind. He wanted us to be
Current.
And everybody was like going bankrupt.
Struggling. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, can't see what's happening. Like, let's try and work together.
Yeah,
No, give me my.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
And he knew that my credit was crap
Yeah.
because I'd gone to prison when I was 22 years old for
Yeah.
hitting somebody, you know? And he knew that I couldn't claim bankruptcy. Right?
Oh, wow.
So he started like just telling me, like, I will spend my entire, like, I want this money now, or I will spend my entire life destroying your wife.
He was vicious.
Life.
Yeah, he went
My
after
wife.
me.
Because if she was going to claim bankruptcy,
Oh,
you know what I mean? So
hello.
he was like, I will go and I'm going to go to your customers. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to do all these different things.
What a
and stuff.
nightmare.
Dude,
Jeez.
It was
like,
a nightmare.
You don't
Good
even
nightmare.
you don't even know.
Did
No.
he
Yeah.
die under mysterious circumstances?
But
No.
he literally was like threatening us in the craziest way and threatening me and then my wife, she would call me
Yeah,
and
him
she's like
driving around.
raised
Yeah.
at our house. Like I'm at work and my wife's at home alone and then he's outside. Like
Oh yeah, no, he's outside. I would look out the window and he's out there just parked and just looking at the house.
What?
So yeah, like I would say every day, you know, for a few days he would just be kind of driving around or either parked on the
Letting
other
you know
side,
he
just
was there.
letting
Oh.
us know, okay, I have my eyes on you
Yeah.
guys.
That guy was
So-
trying to commit
oh, yeah.
suicide by Titan.
you wanna-
Well, it's serious. It was very serious.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
and she was like freaking out.
I bet.
I mean,
Yeah.
She was freaking
Yeah, what's
out.
this guy doing at my house?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and there's like a story that I've never said this story on any video, but she like before I would go to church
Yeah.
and she didn't believe,
Yeah.
right? And I would go to like the Christian bookstore and stuff, and she would like squirm, like she was just like she just didn't believe,
Yeah.
right? And I would want to go. She would go to church because I wanted to go, but she wasn't into it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But as I started going through this and losing everything, and she saw me just start like that person who was
Break
so
down.
confident just breaking down.
Yeah.
I kept fighting, man. You
Yeah.
know, but like she saw it, and she was like, "We need to go to church."
Yeah, I picked on that. And
Yeah.
thank God, I made the decision, okay, no, I see him just going this direction mentally, spiritually. We need to do something. And that was the only thing I thought, okay, this is the solution.
Yeah.
So I told him, hey, find a church or I don't remember.
Auburn Grace,
Auburn
yeah.
Grace, and let's go every Sunday. We need to get back in church.
Absolute.
So
So one day, this guy gets right in my face, and he's just telling me that he's gonna ruin my wife, and he's going to like spend his entire life doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and I got families, man. I'm not the young kid that
Yeah.
would just
Yeah.
punch quick. You know
right,
what I
right,
mean?
right.
And I got so many people depending on me, and I was just like he said it to me, and I was just enraged inside, but I just kept my cool, man. But I was inside.
God, I don't know how
That's
you
dying,
do
man.
that. I don't
Like,
know.
that's why I
was
laugh.
dying.
I keep laughing because I can't even picture somebody stupid enough to come in your face and say something like
but
that.
you know,
Like,
but this is why people ask me. Sometimes I go to church right now, and we always go to church right now, and I say, but sometimes, man, God has a way of just speaking to you at that moment, you know. And at that moment, when He was over here just giving me everything, man, we were driving to church on a Sunday, and I literally was just fantasizing about what I was gonna do to him.
No.
You know
Let's
what I
get
mean?
into
would
that
have to.
point.
Yeah, right.
So much
I was-
pressure.
I was
I would
just
agree.
going to church, and I remember I was like, she was driving, and we were going, and I was just fantasizing about like this guy, like I was just fantasizing, man, you know, and I was just so enraged, and we go into the church, and we've been in the book of Luke for like the whole summer, and all of a sudden he's like, so this is like 2009 coming to that,
Yeah.
you know, and then he's like, the pastor says, hey, we've been in the book of Luke for such and such months. Today we're going to do something different, and I'm going to tell you the story of King David and Abigail. And I don't know, you know what I mean?
You're
And
like, okay.
I don't know. And he tells this story, and I'll make it super quick, but he's like, King David, this is when Saul is searching for King David, trying to kill him because he knows that he's been appointed the next king.
Yeah.
And King David is up with like 300 men, 200, 300 men up in the wilderness and stuff. And then there's this guy with a wife, Abigail, and all their herds and sheep and everything are up here. And David and his men are actually taking care of the sheep and making sure that nobody steals them, takes them and stuff. So they come in, they actually, the guy down in this village goes up and he tells people, he sends his guys up to go shear them, do all the stuff, right? And they basically butcher them, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So then they get all the money and they get all the food and they get all the stuff. So David sends like 10 guys down and says, hey, your faithful servant, me, we have been actually taking care of, you have what you have because we've actually protected them during this time in the wilderness. And if you would have favor on us and give us a small portion, like that, God would like, whatever, you know? And remember now, I'm enraged.
Yeah.
I'm enraged, and I'm walking, and he's telling this story about David, and I'm just sitting there. All of a sudden, I'm locked into this story, and the guy says, like, who is David? He is hiding from Saul. He's lucky that I don't actually go and tell Saul where he is and have him killed.
Wow. Hello.
You're not getting anything.
Wow.
Nothing.
Who's speaking to you?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they go up and they tell David, and David says, there won't be a living man in that village when I'm done. And he grabs like half his guys, man. He starts going down this trail. And now he's enraged, like I'm enraged. And he's coming down this thing, and all of a sudden, and I haven't heard that, it's been a while since I heard this story, but all of a sudden the servant tells Abigail, the wife of the man, and says, hey, this is what happened. This is what just went down. And she like just looks at it and says like grab me donkeys, grab me food, pack it up, boom. And she goes and she takes these donkeys and starts going up this road. And you can check out this story. It is a crazy story. And I never heard it before. And then all of a sudden, David's roaring down with all these guys, and all of a sudden she's coming up, and then she gets on the ground, puts her face on the ground, and he stops, and he's like, devastation's about to happen.
Yeah.
And she's like, never mind my husband, he's a stupid man.
Yeah.
And if you do this, like, don't do this. God has a plan for your life, and don't let this day be a stain on God's plan and why he created you.
Crazy. Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Why he created
nuts.
you.
Dude.
And David like grabs the stuff and thanks her and goes back, and like literally she saved the whole town.
Wow.
Ends up the guy dies. David becomes king and sends for her. He becomes his first wife.
Wow.
Talk about revenge.
And one of Travis's daughters' name is Abigail.
That is cool.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the moment, like I always knew that God had a plan and that something was going to happen with this company, and I'm losing everything. And at the moment where I'm ready, like we're right there to just make it where there's no coming back.
Yeah.
And that story hit me in such a way, man.
And
you know what I mean? It was the
Perfect
craziest
timing.
thing.
Very much so.
It was the craziest thing.
Amazing.
There's so many miracles that happen with that. You mentioned the logo. Like you mentioned the logo.
That's a crazy story. One more.
We
that is a great story.
Like God had just done miracles and saved our company, and all these things happened. Malibu boats, when I had all my machines were, you know, and I needed $100,000 to move, and it's like all my machines for months have been empty, and then Malibu calls me on the exact morning and says, like, you got all those machines? I'm like, yes. And they're like, we have all of this work we can't get done. All our machines broke. We're going to bring all this material up, and
So
our guy
nuts.
and fills them up. Like, all these miracles happen to save the company. And then all of a sudden we're on a road where it's like, you know, I'm numb to making parts. Everybody's always said, like, you're so good. You're so good. I've never seen this before. But even being that good, I still lost my house. I still, like, went through everything. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
So I was numb to making parts now, man. We were making SpaceX parts and Blue Origin parts and stuff, and it was like, but I was numb. You know, people would say like, "Oh, these are incredible," but I was like, there has to be something bigger, you know. And we came up with the idea to do the TV show, which that's a miracle in itself. We have to talk about. But then on the first day of working with John Walsh's from America's Most Wanted, you know, working with his team, the first day, I had built a prayer room. My team and I, like, she would try to get me to, she would go and like work at the church. Now she's saved. Like, through that whole thing, she got saved and went to Africa and like worked with widows and orphans, and she just went on this crazy spiritual journey, and it was amazing, you know. But it's like the church, Auburn Grace, she would go and serve at the church, and they would tell me like, dude, you look so mean, but when you smile, like, people trip out, you know. And, like, you should go serve. And I'm like, that's not me. I'm like a worker behind the scenes, you know.
Right.
You know, like, but I'm like, prayer changed my life. So, do you have a prayer room? You know, and I built this prayer room, and it was beautiful, man. And I used to go in there and stuff. It's something people could go to 24 hours a day and stuff, you know. And did a crazy painting, you know, where you sit there, you look at this painting, man, and we machined a cross and put it on the wall and stuff. And I thought, you know what, since we're going to do this TV show, and I know that it's God's plan, I want to have the first day of filming in this room.
Nice.
So I go down, and I'm driving to meet everybody at this church. And our logo's the hex. Remember the old hex we had with the thread
Titan
cut into
Engineering.
it?
Absolutely.
Titan Engineering. Like, it was always, and you made that one too, right? Yeah. So then that was our logo and stuff. And then I'm going down there, and I'm like praying as I'm coming right across, you know, right next to Earhart Drive. Like, I'm right there on 49 going down. There's a big field over there. And as I'm coming down, I'm like praying to God, and I said, like, you know, like, if this isn't you, then take it away. But if it is, like, if you tell me to go left, I'll go left. If I tell, like, just show me that you're there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm just praying to him and stuff that, you know, and then all of a sudden, I just had this feeling. I look up, and there's a bald eagle flying above my truck.
How crazy.
Is that the craziest thing in the world?
Crazy.
I've seen a couple in California in my lifetime.
Lifetime.
I've
seen one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's just right there flying. And right there, chills go through my body, man. And I'm like driving, and this thing's just right above my truck. And it's just going. And I'm like looking at it. And all of a sudden, I just watch it. And then I get down to Bell Road, and I take the right there.
Yeah.
I go, and I come back afterwards, and Gina meets me at the door. We're over by Lake of the Pines, and Gina meets me at the door, and she's like, "Oh, so how was it?" And I just look at her.
Let me tell you.
And all I said was, we should change our logo of the company. And she looked straight at me at that second, and what did you say?
We should do an eagle.
Crazy. That's crazy.
She had no idea what had happened. She
just
had no
idea.
That is insane.
Yeah.
It's like, for him, it was confirmation of what he was praying to the Lord. Like, okay, he saw that bald eagle soaring over him and going home, and just more confirmation.
Yes.
Gina saying, "Oh, we should do an eagle."
How
Isn't that
is
crazy?
That is insane.
Crazy, right?
Very
awesome.
cool.
And then she's like, let's go look on the internet and look up when the bald eagle became America's bird.
Yeah.
Right. And we go to the computer, we look up when did, the bald eagle become the national, bird and stuff. And what was the date?
June 20th.
June 20th, my birthday.
That's
you know what I mean?
Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's too many
mind-blowing.
coincidences.
Dude.
Yeah, that's just amazing.
It was crazy, man.
Amazing.
So she did the initial eagle that we had that was kind of sideways with the wings and stuff, and that we still have on a bunch of the shirts, and which was what we used with Titan American Build when we started this whole adventure and stuff.
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
now we got the bald eagle that's a little bit more stylized, but
Yeah.
I still love the original one the best, man.
It's
because
good stuff. What a story.
Crazy, right?
Gina, come on.
Isn't that crazy?
Can you believe the path? I mean, look at the history from when you started not being able to afford, losing it, the bald eagle, and then changing it to where we are today.
Good job,
Amazing.
Gina.
I know.
Good job, Tyne.
No, it was both. She's been along this whole journey. I mean, we've done all the different things and stuff, and it's like even when like to make the decision on the actual TV show, it wasn't like I was just that brilliant and thought, oh, we're gonna do a TV show.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We had just come out of 2010. We had saved the company. God had done His miracles and stuff, and then the government in Pennsylvania for the parole department, the entire parole department for the entire state. Basically, we're having this meeting at this place called Nemacolin. Like Congress meets at this place.
Yeah, beautiful hotel.
And they had read the Wall Street Journal article on my life, just going from prison to building a great job shop, and just all of it, man. And that was before the fall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they asked me to go speak, and I'm like, I'm not gonna speak. I don't speak.
Yeah, what is that?
I've never gone in school, and I was an F student, man. You know what I mean? A in art, A in math, F in everything else. You know what I mean? But it's like, they're like, hey, we'll pay you. So I remember that first one, they paid us like $3,000 plus tickets.
You're like, what?
Me and Gina actually flew up to Pennsylvania, and they had me speak for 2 hours.
Wow.
And they wanted to show the people working in the system that it can happen, that somebody can come, that can go through these hard times and go through prison and come out and actually do good in life.
Yeah.
Actually make a difference, So for them, it was perfect because I was just a machine shop owner, and I was just talking about my journey and stuff, and the successes we've had and different things and stuff. But I got deep, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in front of these
intense,
people.
yeah.
I've never done it. I'm not a public speaker. It's not something I want to do. But it was like, I'm just going to lay it down, man. And I went out there, and for 2 hours, it was just
let it go.
On.
Yeah.
It was on. And everyone was speechless. Huge crowd.
And who's
It was
right next
huge.
to you again?
I know, Gina. And there was, afterwards, we go to the back. And there was a crazy line, right?
Yeah.
And people like all nationalities, all everything, man. And they're just literally in tears. And one guy's like saying, I quit my job because I actually have to work with, I have kids, and I have to work with like people who molest children.
Ugh.
And stuff, and this and that. But he's like, this speech right here, I'm rededicating my life because it's important that we have the right people that are serving our community.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
doing these different things, for like people coming out and different things and stuff.
And that spoke to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are like asking me, like, where are you going to speak next? Where are you going next? What's going on?
Yeah, you're like,
and I'm
this
like,
was a one-off.
I'm going back to my machine shop. You know what I mean? Like, but it was the craziest thing because I kept thinking this industry is losing, and everybody's talking about like the waves, like are just normal. And like at that time, you saw 50,000 companies had gone out of business because of this whole collapse. And, and it's like, and they're just like, oh, that's just a trend, and now we'll be on a up, and then there'll be and I'm like, nobody's doing anything about it. Right. You know what I mean? And I just had this thing in me, like I was looking at machining and out competing everybody, and I'm like, they're in their boxes. They don't even know. Like, they don't even know that they're running at 20% of their capabilities. Like, how do you like touch these people? Like, how do you make a difference in this trade? I love making parts. I love this trade, but I want to make a difference,
right?
You know?
Right.
And I literally was on the plane flying back to California, and then all of a sudden it was like, I just knew, like I knew that God was going to do something. I just knew.
Crazy.
I get back to my office. I sit down in the chair, first day back, and then my secretary says, hey, I got this guy on the phone and we talked about, and he's like, hey, I'm so-and-so from the Discovery Channel. And I'm like,
hello.
Oh, you calling the guy who went from homelessness to prison to building the greatest American job shop? And he's like, no, man. I just need a part, you know? But what happened? I went home to Gina, and we were in the room, and you were sitting down, and I was in the hallway, and I remember that day I was looking at you, and I said, there's no way that this guy, out of hundreds of thousands of shops, called me.
Yeah.
And I said, we're going to create a show. We're going to do this, and all these people are trapped in their buildings. They don't talk, and we're going to go through those buildings, and we're going to make a TV show, and we're going to show them real manufacturing and make a show dedicated to CNC machining, not knowing that how it would evolve and that it would go into education and all that.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's like, she's been there the entire way, man.
It's incredible.
What
a great story.
There's two things that I love about your story, and one is that, you were so successful because you surrounded yourself with people that believed in you. And if a single one of them wouldn't have believed in you, it might have been a very different story. And the other thing is it really shows the importance that words can have in the lives of people. So, when you were first borrowing the money from Jeff, if Gina would have had a different attitude and would have told you, no, I don't think this is a good idea, it might have never happened. Yeah. If your pastor hadn't spoken the story of Abigail that day, then you might have made a really different choice.
It's crazy, right?
And then your own words, when you were speaking to that parole board or whatever, your words changed the mind of that guy who had quit his job. So just a few words from the right person at the right time can make such a big difference in somebody's life.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Crazy.
Amazing.
And then one day, I said a word that would affect all of our lives. And I walked downstairs, and I said, Gina, the Lord just told me that we're supposed to move to Texas.
I remember perfectly. I'm like, wait, what? What are you saying?
I know.
Okay, I got to go buy it. I'm like, no, don't leave me. I need more information.
But it was
It's a big decision.
Had I ever talked about moving?
No.
Had I ever
Never.
talked about Texas?
No, never.
Anything?
Never.
And it was impossible. We have a company and we
Yeah,
have
employees. Yeah.
I mean, Brandon,
Never.
who's over there, would never move to Texas. I mean, I can't.
Right.
What can
How
I
we
do?
gonna do
You know what I mean? So, but I did. I just woke up, man. And he just imprinted it into my soul.
That's a good word, imprinted.
That I just knew, like I knew, go to Texas. And I tell my daughter the story, and we talk about conviction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Gina will tell you that I came down and I said, this is what we're gonna do. And within one day, we made plane tickets. We were looking at buildings and houses, and we went
within a day.
Within a day.
For that
Texting
whole week.
people that when you hear
over dinner and coffee, we dreamed about it and we researched and we did everything. And within a week, we were here, and we set it in motion. And in the entire time moving over, knowing like money like it wasn't like we just had a crazy amount of money. I mean, to move an entire shop to Texas
takes a
is
lot
a
of
crazy
resources.
thing.
Heck yes.
For anybody.
I know what it takes just to move a shop 3 blocks down the street.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Exactly.
crazy. Yeah.
$100,000.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
you got that right.
did in that whole time, did I flinch or waver at all?
Never.
Never, man.
Never.
Bingo.
And it's because
Such
like
confidence.
Yeah.
like, I don't want to make it all crazy, but I've just known that something amazing was going to happen, and I know that that's been my entire life has been wrapped, and therefore we have emptied our. People say like, oh, you know, if I had, you know, these machines and I had this, then I would go do it. But they don't understand the sacrifice that to do this. All the money that we ever made, we emptied our bank accounts and funded our own like production company and our own everything. Like we put everything out there,
Crazy.
and risked everything
Yeah.
to get to where we are. So it doesn't just happen.
No.
It's not
Heck
easy.
no.
And I think
No.
that even now we have partners but those partners know what we've sacrificed.
Yeah.
And they know that the partnership is sound because they know that we've invested too much. We're not going to imagine me with my past and my tattoos. You know, if I just went out and drove drunk or I did anything stupid like these big companies, they're not going to partner with you. They have to have trust in you, and they have to understand what the motives are and what the vision is, and you have to sell them on that vision that we're going to change the industry. What does that mean? You have to spell it out, and you have to show them step by step what we mean and how we're going to do it, and get them invested so that they come alongside and go. So that's why I tell people, like, if you see our partners and you say, oh, Kennametal or whatever, and you say like, oh, you should do it. Well, those other people aren't helping to fund free education.
That's right.
In our vision.
You got that right.
Kennametal stepped up. They took a chance, and they actually are helping us like give free education. You have 200,000 students getting free education from everyone because of these guys. So maybe give them a little respect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at DN Solutions. These guys took a chance on us.
Yep.
And said, this has never happened before. We're going to actually partner with these guys to create curriculum, to create all this stuff. Of course, the
game has been changed.
Works.
You changed the game. That's how things are.
We all changed the game.
The game has been changed, absolutely. And who would have ever thought you could, have a business model that could be successful like that? You changed the game. This is the direction. People look for content online. That's how it's going.
Yeah.
It is.
100%.
It's fantastic.
And now you go into our impressions and views, and they're in the billions now.
It's crazy.
You were just at emo, and all these decisions that we've made,
Yeah.
You have all these people coming up saying, I got into the trade because of you.
Yeah.
I learned from your videos. I learned from the academy. You inspired me to start my own shop. You inspired me to whatever. And it is changing, man.
Crazy.
And even people who have their own companies and have employees. And owners are learning to become better owners and take care of their people and actually make money. And machinists are learning from our videos that they need to be pillars and not just like self-absorbed, but they actually have to work hard to actually create money and a great environment for the company to be able to sell to their customers so that it can be successful. And then it rolls,
Yeah,
and then kids are learning that there is an industry that they're built different. They're built to actually make things, and you can actually make good money and take care of a family on CNC machines and grinding machines and Swiss machines and EDM machines, and this is how you use them. And you don't have to go to college. You can actually make great money if you solve the right problems and have a hard work, man.
No doubt about it. Absolutely.
Crazy.
That's what it's all about.
Crazy.
Love you, baby. Thank
Love
you
you
so
too.
much.
Very
guys.
nice.
I want everybody,
Gina.
everybody out there needs to understand that I would weigh about 170 pounds if it wasn't for all the cookies that Gina makes.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
It is the
No, but
it
I
is-
love bringing stuff. I can't come over here with my
Exactly.
Without
Please
nothing.
don't.
Well,
don't
we
stop.
love you. Thank you.
She was in a meeting with us like the other day. Last week she came 2 times. I loved it. And we were having a meeting, and she was in the meeting, and she was so enthused, man. She was all about it.
I really enjoyed it.
And I got home, and she just wanted to talk about it, and I was like, you need to come like all the time.
For
Make
real,
more
Gina.
appearances.
Now, you know, since you came up with him in the machine shop and you were smelling the coolant every day and working
that's
on
one
the
thing. I'm
machines.
so glad the coolant part. Oh my gosh, when you changed to blaster.
Oh, look, she did a commercial for Synergy
Yeah, just the
735.
smell. I remember the
Night
smell.
and day.
Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
still my nose, but then blaster.
She was like,
So good.
can you
Much
go
better.
take off your clothes and put it next to
It
the
was
washer
bad.
and
It was
then
bad.
take
I'm
a
sorry.
shower?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, Gina, you're good. Look
Yeah,
at that.
for real.
Blaser's
I love
going to be
Blaster.
like,
Yeah.
put her on the payroll. and then she likes to brag about Trevor's haircut.
Why have to bring that up?
Because it's funny. You're behind the scenes and like his fluffy with
my
his, and then,
Yeah.
you know.
She nailed it.
But then she's like, oh, if he like comes tight and he,
I mean, he looks amazing. He
Yeah,
looks
and
great.
Yeah.
So
and he's like, even my wife loves it. And I'm like, see, my wife's like helping your everything, man.
She's not only the leader of a multi-million-dollar machine company, she's also a kickboxing instructor, a stylist, and
Fashion.
An artist.
chef.
Oh my
So
God.
great.
Chef.
Yes.
She does it all.
Covers it all.
Yeah, I remember like when I first met her, she'd be like over there painting and drawing and making
I was
making
doing-
an
that was
octopus.
homework.
Remember
That was
when
homework.
you did the octopus?
Yeah.
You drew the octopus and stuff. I remember thinking like, dang, she's so talented. And then we'd go to the art store for her, whereas like I was an artist too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I
Oh,
mean?
we
So
loved going to the art store.
Yeah.
That was our thing.
That is so
it's
awesome.
been crazy. So thanks for hanging out with us.
Oh, thank you
Heck
for
yes.
having me. It was fun.
Heck
Oh,
yeah.
That's always good.
Great job. Wonderful.
Yeah, that
Didn't
people
skip a beat.
Barry, when we first started, was like, does Titan come into the kitchen when he's home and tell you how like it's good, but we can take it to greatness? And then what did you say?
I said no. He can't dare. He can't do that. That's my realm. So no, he has no opinion.
Stay out of the
But I'm-
kitchen.
But then I said, hey Barry, her cooking is absolutely fabulous. It's already great, and if your machining was great, I wouldn't have to say anything.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Oh, it's so fantastic.
I'm here to solve problems, you
Love
know.
it.
But then,
Love it.
I mean, you're a beast.
I mean,
You're awesome.
Yeah.
But we
I hear
like
that
to talk
all
smack.
the time. That you're a beast.
Barry's the beast.
I'm like, but he's gonna be offended. Don't joke around like that with him. Come on. He's like, no, he loves it.
he
I'm
makes
like,
me
okay,
sad.
guys.
Oh no, you should see these guys off camera, like him laying into Jesse and Jesse vice versa.
I feel bad.
And then Trevor's
Gosh.
like, I want to come play, and then even wives get involved. I'm like, dude, like,
Dude,
Yeah,
don't
be
get
careful.
me in trouble.
Be
Don't
careful.
get me in trouble.
Exactly.
I'll tell you who got me good earlier was Dave. He had
Ooh.
a truck parked out here the other day that had a bunch of bales of hay in it.
Yeah.
And this morning I asked him, I was like, hey, Dave, was that your truck that had all the hay in it the other day? And he was like, oh, yeah, I was going to go feed your mom, but I got busy.
Oh, that is
Man,
Oh,
that is a
that
my
was
gosh.
horrible.
Jeez.
People like Dave has he
He's
comes
pretty
with
quick,
it.
yeah.
And people that I'm sure people know, Dave's the vice president of the company, has 4 horses and a beautiful wife, and they moved from California.
Another one. Detracted.
Another one.
I know.
Get out.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're in California, and your office at Titans of CNC has a Texas Longhorn picture that's like 8 feet.
It's
and,
huge.
And you're the one staying in California.
For
Like
real, that
you
makes no
should be
sense.
over here and stuff.
Get
But
over.
They had a beautiful ranch, and they lived up in Cool and
Yeah,
stuff.
great
so.
spot.
But now he's here, and it's good. And
Thank
he's
God.
just
Awesome.
suffered through 108 and probably cursed me every day.
I know his horses were mad at you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
no
sure,
doubt.
For sure.
No doubt.
But he's helping change the world, man. So
Got to be on board.
you know what I mean.
Purpose.
And now you're here too.
Rock and roll.
All right.
Rock and roll.
We said we were done minutes ago, so I guess we should be done.
Zippity dip.
Boom.
Bit of
Love
a-
you.
Oh, yeah.
Love you guys too.
Love you, brother.
Boom.
Absolute.
Boom.